The Force of Others, a Star Wars podcast.
Hello there, and welcome to The Force of Others. I'm Matt Poitner.
I'm Zachary Owen Turner, and today we're talking about the new Andor trailer, Legacy of Vader number 2, an interview with Matt's wife, Jennie, and a surprise, can we stump him for Matt's birthday? But before we get into all that, first off, happy birthday, Matt. How was your
Thank
week?
you.
How was your Star Wars week? How did they find you?
I had a good week. I did have my birthday last week, March 20th. Super close to having my birthday on St. Patrick's Day, but I waited 3 more days to come into the world. I had a great birthday. Had a whole week because that was when my academy had its spring break. So I was like, I get a week-long vacation for my birthday. And as for how Star Wars found me, we have recorded our Fate of the Force Star Wars RPG one-shot.
Woo.
I am very excited. That will come out by hook or by crook. My Lord in heaven. By hook or by crook. That will come out May 4th, 2025. That's how we're celebrating Star Wars Day this year. By showing you some role-playing games. Zach played, a friend of the podcast, Brian Lawson played. It's going to be super good.
Yeah.
But before I go into the other big way that Star Wars found me this week, which was the Andor minute-long trailer thing that dropped yesterday, Zach, how was your week, and how were your last 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And how has Star Wars found you?
Yeah, Star Wars actually found me a bunch. I had a great 2 weeks. I 2 weeks ago went down to a family reunion down in Texas. Really great, just great to unwind and actually spend some good quality time with the fam. But at one of the nights, we were all sitting around a fire, and my dad's cousin puts on this hood because he's cold, but he's wearing a hat at the time, and it was a black hood, and it covered his eyes perfectly. And Kai reached over to me, and she goes, "Honey, Palpatine." And I look at my dad, and I was like, "Dad, Palpatine." And my dad almost fell out of his chair laughing. He was like, "Palpatine? That's hilarious." But yeah, it was a great week. And then this week, this past week, I got to play Fate of the Force, which was fun. My first time playing a role-playing game in almost a year, which is very sad for somebody who has a D&D tattoo. But it's been a busy year, and it was so, nice. It was just really calming and rewarding. And then work-wise, I worked a movie premiere last night. Got to serve Mr. Bill Murray, which was pretty cool. He drinks a Vesper Martini, if any other bartenders are out there, which is my favorite drink, so that was pretty cool. He's also very tall. And Star Wars it's been finding me a lot. We have a new barback at work, and he is one of those people that almost like a photographic memory. We were talking about Andor, and he almost did the entire Luthien speech word for word, and I was like, bro, cool. Yeah, so, but he is one of those that's like, Andor is the best Star Wars thing to ever happen. And I was like, all right, man, well, you should listen to our podcast.
Let's have him on.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Speaking of Andor, new trailer.
Yeah. So I got 2 short little things to say about it. I feel weird calling it a trailer because it's almost like a TV spot that came out on social media because it's just like a minute.
Yeah.
You can find it on Star Wars' Instagram. But I wanted to talk about 2 things. I have speculated before on both of these things, and I'm not the only one, but just we've talked about it on the show before, that I think we're going to see Mon Mothma's speech before the Senate, the one that gets her made an enemy of the state, and that leads right into the Rebels episode where they rescue her and then she basically creates the rebellion. But there's the shot of her in the Senate. The monster will come for us all. That's pretty straightforward to me that speech is going to happen. I am excited about that because if the show does anything really well, they write some really cool Shakespearean monologues. I hope this is the best one because while Luthien is a cool character for this show, Mon Mothma is the rebellion.
Yeah.
So I hope that they bring the heat for that monologue. Now, here's something I'm worried about. I have talked before about how I think we're going to see the Gorman Massacre in this show, which is clearly going to happen, especially now that you and I are rewatching Andor Season 1. They lay it on pretty thick, mentioning Gorman like twice in the 3 episodes that we watched for this week.
Yeah.
So that's coming. But here's my concern. I'm really worried Luthen is going to start the Gorman massacre.
Oh.
And I'm not the only one that thinks this. You can find this other places online. I think Star Wars Explained said this. I've seen other Star Wars people that they think that's happening. But then it's just the 2 lines between Cassian and Luthen in this trailer, or we think it's Cassian and Luthen, but Cassian's like, if it goes up in flames, and Luthen says, it will burn very brightly. Mm-hmm. Would not surprise me at all if what was in Legends just a massacre of innocent civilians by the Empire becomes something that, yeah, the Empire finishes it off, but Luthen has Cassian shoot some civilians to get people angry at the Empire. If they do that, that will make me upset. But that, in my opinion, seems on brand for this show, where this show is a real revolution, right?
Yeah,
Jumping ahead.
I don't know if it'll go that far, though. That's pretty dark.
Maybe Cassian won't do it, but it is absolutely something Luthen would do. There was something where Henry Gilroy talked about how Luthen is an accelerationist. He's someone that almost believes in making things worse to promote the change, to shock people into change. And that would be on brand for the moral complexities of Andor, and it would be on brand for Luthen's monologue of, sacrificing my life for a sunrise I'll never see, and all that stuff. I have to use the tools of my enemy to defeat them. So, we will see. I hope that's not what it is. I would really love that it's just the Empire being awful, But, anywho, neither here. What do you got to say? Sorry.
Oh, no. Just the trailer got me pretty amped for the K2SO. Because they keep on showing those droids, and I'm like, oh. Also, I didn't realize how much I wanted Ben Mendelsohn back. I was like, seeing this trailer, I was like, all right, yeah, give me some Krennic. Yeah. That's not something I expected in this show, and I don't know why, but just didn't seem to, mash up with Rogue One. But I'm here for it. I'm excited. I'm also reading. Matt started reading, or maybe he didn't. The Mask of Fear. I've started listening to the audiobook, and I got to say, rewatching these Andor episodes while listening to that audiobook concurrent, I'm like, man, I'm here for political thriller Star Wars. Let's do it.
Yeah, I would like a kind of similar to how Mask of Fear not literally ties into Andor, but is tonally coherent with Andor.
Yeah.
I would like some type of show that's, shock. Trigger warning, everybody. I'm going to bring up the sequel trilogy. But ties into Bloodline and Leia and starting the Resistance and stuff. That would be cool. Mm-hmm. But speaking of tying into the sequel trilogy, 2 weeks ago, Legacy of Vader #2 came out, and as influential members of Star Wars media, it's time for us to talk about it. For me, this thing continues to hit, continues to be a home run. This makes me happy. That's what I will say. But Zach, what are your opening thoughts for Legacy of Vader #2?
Yeah, I like that we finally got the clarification on the Watto controversy. That broke the internet for the Star Wars. It's just Kylo Ren being like, I bet he came back here and killed him, and the other guy's like, nah, dude, chill. I find this all very interesting. It's really interesting to see Tatooine in the sequel trilogy be so run down. Everywhere they go, even the Boonta Eve pod racing thing, it's in disarray, it's broken and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool. I think it's interesting that we're getting a Han Solo costume for Kylo Ren, which is not something I thought we'd see, but it is kind of cool to see him go a little undercover. And you have the splash page here. I love that splash page of he's like, yes, Vader was from early childhood. Vader had a hard life, and it shows just images of Ben had a great life.
Yeah.
So,
my opening thoughts. I kind of talked about it on last week when I did a mini review, when we did a mini review.
Yeah.
But I love Vinay's argument here, suggesting Kylo not kill his past, as is his goal in The Last Jedi and here, but that he hold on to his past and his pain, use it for power, like you think Vader did.
Yeah.
Because, an advancement of a character's philosophies would be something you could do in a sequel, but whatever. Anyway, and I wanted to say, quick note on Ben's costume, that's his fit from the Rise of Kylo Ren comic.
Oh, is it?
When he first joins the Knights of Ren.
Cool.
So it's, I like when, and that's also just Charles Soule going, I pay attention.
Yeah.
What's he gonna wear? What he wore in my last Kylo Ren comic. So yeah, no, and I've got a lot of likes, but what are your likes?
Yeah.
For Legacy of Vader 2.
I mean, you talked about it last week, but that little weird spider ball man force guard for the Hutts is really cool. I really love the palace that we see that the Hutt is in. It's like built out of an old like desert tree, which I think I screenshotted because I love the image of that. I think that's one of the few images I took. I continue to love Vinay. I think he is such a great odd character to keep, especially the way his like robot body is like not even humanoid, which you could definitely do humanoid, but it's huge. Especially seeing him walk next to Kylo. And I love that Kylo is as true to his character, trying to be angry and emo, and then like Vinay's like, hey, he had a hard life. He's like, I had a good life. Nobody must know I had a good life.
Yeah.
I love the Rancors that guard, and that whole sequence of him taking out 2 Rancors. Really, really cool action sequence. They continue to give us like one really great action sequence per book, which is I think necessary for a quick 22 page. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, if I could go on all my likes, we'd talk for 45 minutes. But I love this one moment between Vinay and Kylo Ren. It's like, and then he used him too. And Vinay's like, yes, but in such a wonderful way. May we all be so lucky. I just loved how obsessed Vinay was with Vader and Palpatine. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Similarly, that Ben's childhood wasn't painful. He had a wonderful childhood, and I've got the splash page up now. If you haven't read the comic, I highly recommend it, but you get this wonderful splash page of just panel after panel of fantastic memories of Ben hanging out with Chewie and R2 and Lando and Luke and Leia and Han, and I got choked up when I turned the page and saw that, because Vinay's like, yeah, I bet Vader's life was awful. He was a slave. He was all these horrible things. I bet your childhood was terrible too. And Ben's like, yeah, it was. Yeah. It's awesome. What were you gonna say?
I love bearded Luke in the black robes. I was like, yes, yes. For us cosplayers who don't want to cut our beards, we can be Luke Skywalker too.
You too can be Luke Skywalker. But speaking of Luke Skywalker, I really loved the moment. Just Ben has so much rage. Talking about Luke Skywalker can get you killed. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Slicing Anakin's name off of the winners list at the Bunta Eve, just whatever that stadium is, I guess. That's just such a cool idea. This is why I like Charles Soule so much. The things he does are simple and wide-reachingly cool. It's just like, that is such an obvious idea. I'm mad that I never thought of that. Yeah. And put it in a role-playing game or something. But Gardulla the Hutt still alive? Mm-hmm. Very cool. Very cool. She died, I think, 3 different times in Legends.
Oh,
because
really?
Legends was never a cohesive canon. But she died 3 different times, and I don't think they've ever mentioned her in canon, so why not? She's still around. I really liked the like grandfather, like grandson, angry speeder bike riding in the Tatooine desert. to the point that the images are their exact mirrors of each other. Kylo's flying left to right. Anakin was flying right to left. This is, of course, from Star Wars Episode 2 when Anakin's going to save his mom. It's just the same thing. The Rancor riders. It's just like, do cool stuff. Do stupid cool things. And speaking of stupid cool things, I made a short about it. What is this crossbreed of a spider and the Michelin Man Force Guard that Gardulla the Hutt has? This marshmallowy spider, glass doll-eyed thing. And I love the Gardulla saying, you really think I wouldn't find a way to protect myself from a Force user after what happened to Jabba?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Also,
and
it's
I
like,
cannot
what
wait.
is it, and why does it have the Force? Why is it not... Because it's obviously not fully sentient, I don't think, because otherwise it'd be like kind of a Jedi, or I don't know, like it's so odd.
Well, I mean, but Qui-Gon says in Phantom Menace, that if Anakin had been born within the Republic, they would have identified him.
Oh, true.
So it's set in canon and in the wider storytelling that Tatooine is so far removed from the Republic that Jedi weren't even necessarily aware of Force sensitives out there. So it's entirely possible just Gardulla found a Force-sensitive mercenary whose name could be Gobbledygook, or something. And I'm sure he'll teach Kylo Ren how to use the Force in a different way.
You think?
Or something silly.
I think Kylo's gonna figure out a way to kill him.
Oh, sure. But it also wouldn't surprise me if this is kind of a dark side Yoda.
Oh, okay.
Or something. Like Kylo's definitely gonna kill him, for sure. But he'll learn some mythological truth.
Yeah.
But them's my likes.
Mm-hmm.
So, Zach, what are your dislikes for this issue, if you have any?
I guess it's just, I feel like sometimes Kylo is just too emo.
Yeah.
I like it. I wonder, because there's so little difference in between 8 and 9, as far as character goes for Kylo, I wonder where this arc is, what the whole comic arc is going to be. I mean, I trust Charles Soule; he's a great writer, but to keep it cohesive with the movies and everything, I'm interested to see where it's going and what the point of the comic is. I don't know if I fully have found that yet for the character, but it's also issue 2, so you gotta wait a little bit. So. Well,
and you can say the same argument, like we got 3 different Darth Vader runs, one between 3 and 4, between 4 and 5, and between 5 and 6, and between 5 and 6, he's pretty much the same dude.
Yeah.
But they did stuff like they showed several times Vader trying to fight Palpatine in this most recent arc between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And, all 3 or 4 of those times, Palpatine just wrecks him.
Yeah.
Which was their way of kind of explaining further why Vader's like, you don't know the power of the dark side. I must obey my... So you could do stuff like that. We could get something, why he puts the mask back on.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, who knows? But my only dislike was really nitpicky, but just sometimes this comic booky dialogue is a little too cheeseball. When they had the random fight with the mercenaries and they're like, drop all your weapons and raise your hands, and Kylo goes, these hands are weapons. And I was like, come on. But at the same time, that's the type of crap Han Solo would say if he was a Force user.
Yeah.
So, Ben is Han's kid. But all right, do you have any discussion questions or discussion points?
We kind of discussed it a little bit, which was the Force user,
yeah.
Other than that, where do we think it's going to go next? I guess would be my discussion question for you. Because he has to do... If I remember correctly, sorry, I read this 2 weeks ago. He has to do a job for the Hutts now, right?
Well, Ben's like, I'll write my own story. Mm-hmm. It's going to be because he goes to kill her because she owned Anakin Skywalker, and he doesn't want that story to exist in the galaxy. Yeah. And she's like, well, now y'all share the same story. The issue ends with him tied up and chained.
Oh, that's right.
So I think he's enslaved. is kind of what they're going to try to do. So he'll break out, and it'll be a really metal thing.
I don't think he's going to be enslaved. I think it's going to be gladiator games.
That would be cool.
And I think we might get like a Black Chrysanthemum, like cameo, or like I think that's where I'd go with it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that we can't tell where it's going.
Yeah.
But my discussions, I thought this was really interesting. Vinay talks about how Vader confided in Palpatine and told him a lot of like the problems he'd had in his life and everything else. Do you think that was before or after Anakin Skywalker became Darth Vader?
I think it's before.
Because
Yeah,
me too.
We see it, you know. I don't know if after, maybe a little bit, but because like they're still the same people, but
yeah,
I think it would be more like, yes, tell me things that I can torture you with.
Yeah, I think it was when Anakin was young.
Yeah. Also, I think maybe it might be like a Force link later, like because Palpatine's so strong in the Force that he's like, he even says your thoughts dwell on your no, Yoda says your thoughts dwell on your mother. So like if Yoda can sense it, what maybe Palpatine can also sense, like, oh yeah, you're thinking of Padme.
Yeah.
Good, you fucked up. You killed her. Get angry.
And then the other thing, similarly, Vinay also talks about using Vader's security codes to access Palpatine's files after his death.
Yeah.
Who else do you think had security codes to access Palpatine's files?
Well, I don't think it's any of the admirals that we've seen, because otherwise it would have, a whole Operation Cinder, I think, would have gone off very differently. I think Mara Jade has his security codes. If we ever get to see her, definitely. I don't know if there is many others.
Yeah.
That kind of, I was like, oh, interesting.
The only other one that I could see would maybe be like a Gallius Rax.
Yeah.
From the whole Operation Cinder thing, as kind of the Palpatine's hand-picked person to run the Empire into the ground in the event of his death and to kill everybody. But yeah, the last thing I was going to talk about is I was going to assemble all of Gardulla the Hutt's many deaths from Legends, and I forgot about it, so we'll talk about it next week. But, Zach, closing thoughts for Legacy of Vader #2.
Yeah, I mean, I'll continue reading. I'm excited to see where it goes. Give me more of that Force little guy. Give me more little guys. I need more little guys in Star Wars, We don't have enough little guys. More aliens, more guys. That's what I want.
I think Charles Sewell tweeted that like he was very excited to have the opportunity in this issue to add another member of the Star Wars weird little guy type thing, and I thought that was hilarious. Yeah. So he agrees with you. But my closing thoughts, I'm really invested in what Charles is doing with Kylo. When he tells Gardulla, I will tell my own story. You will not be a part of it. Right? He's killed his master. And the way that he sees it, for as broken as he is and as dumb as Kylo is, this is the first time in his life that he sees that he can try to take control of who he is and what he's doing.
From
right?
issue 1, too. From the first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but as always, one of the primary lessons of Star Wars is that the more you try to control anything, the more you lose control of it. Your focus determines your reality, and what you focus on will come to pass. In other words, I think this rules. So I don't know necessarily where the story is going long term, but my guess would be that it's just going to be Ben making peace with I don't necessarily, that's not necessarily right, but Ben in some way moving on from everything that has happened and purely thinking forward. Right? Like the episode 9 crawl talks about how Supreme Leader Kylo Ren will destroy any threat to his power. So it wouldn't surprise me if it's him sitting on the throne and then hearing Palpatine's broadcast.
Yeah.
And that's like the end of the comic, right?
Ooh, I like that.
That's what I would do.
Nice.
But all right. As for the other Star Wars that we took in this week...
Well, before we get there, I think now would be a good time for a surprise! We're going to play a game! dear listener. So we're gonna play. Is it gonna play? Yeah, here we go. Can we stump him? We all know that Matt is the encyclopedic knowledge of Star Wars, but can he answer these? I have assembled 8 questions. We don't have to do all of them, but I have assembled 8 questions, some of which I think you'll know, just to give you a little, confidence boost. But the last one I took from Dragon Con. Dragon Con has a Star Wars trivia, and no less than 25% have gotten this question right for the past 3 years.
Oh, no.
So, we'll see if we can finally stump them. We're going to start with the easy one. In Attack of the Clones, what 90s boy band was supposed to appear?
NSYNC.
Yes. All right, question number 2. What was the name of the alien used to promote The Force Awakens that never appears in the movie? He appears in the trailer and in toys, but never appeared in the movie.
Constable Zuvio.
Yes. All right, now we're going to get into another level.
Oh, gosh.
The first appearance of the Emperor was a composite of a character designer's wife and which animal?
A monkey.
Yeah, chimpanzee. This one, and then we're going to go a little softball. Who was Luke Skywalker's gunner during the Battle of Hoth?
Dak.
Yeah. All right. In A New Hope, what is the name of the long-snouted alien spy that turns in Han and Chewie to the Empire?
Yep. I got nothing. I have no clue.
Yeah. We stumped him! It's Garden!
Dang it! I actually...
All right.
I actually knew that! Okay, I'm back.
All right. I got 3 more. Do you want to keep on going?
Yeah, let's keep going.
All
It's
right.
fine.
What is R2-D2's home planet?
Well, I mean, I want to say Naboo, but if it's said differently in a reference book or something, I will have no clue.
Well, I'll give you a hint. What ship does he appear on?
For the first time, he appears on Padme's ship,
Which is a...
which is a Naboo ship.
Nubian. Yeah.
With a look on your face, I was like, I don't know.
All right.
Okay.
Who created the super weapon in the Sith Temple on Malachor, which caused the Scourge of Malachor and was later destroyed by Ezra Bridger?
A Sith Lord. It's not Momin.
No.
Have they said who it was?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Well, I have no idea.
It's Darth Tanis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And
Where do they say this?
I don't know. I found it.
Okay,
I
cool.
think
All right,
it's
here we go.
a throwaway line in the episode.
Fair.
And the last one, the one that has stumped, I took the quiz. I only got 23 out of 50 correct, which would not have qualified me for the finals. But this one has been on the questionnaire for 3 years, and it said it will remain on the questionnaire until 25% of you get it correct. Who is the captain of the Radiant Seven on its final voyage carrying Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon to Naboo in Episode 1?
Oh.
First person to die in canon.
Oh, yeah. And I know exactly who she is. Shields up, and then she blows up.
Yeah.
The ambassadors for the Supreme Chancellor wish to board immediately. Yeah, I have no clue. They never say her name in the movie.
Yeah. It's Maui Madakor.
Man.
Yeah.
Star Wars with names they be naming. Well, we did it. We
did
stumped
it.
me twice.
We
3
stumped
times.
him.
Now I want to know where they say Darth Tanis made the Malachor Temple. So, while I Google this...
Well, happy birthday, Matt.
Thanks, man.
You're still an encyclopedia. I'll send you that quiz if you want to take it. If you make over 34, then you would have qualified for the finals at DragaCon. The record is 44 questions correct by Star Wars Explained. So.
Oh, well, and the thing about it is, like, I will, I get a about it sometimes, because when it's questions from, like, reference books and stuff, it's like, that's going to get overwritten by any comic or anything, and it will, like, you know what I mean? Anyway, okay. But thank you. Fun birthday challenge.
Yeah.
And I failed.
No,
but
you got it
already,
all right.
As for the other Star Wars that we watched this week, I'm going to hand it over to Zach.
All right, so we are continuing our Star Wars Andor rewatch. We have watched the Aldhani arc, episodes 4 through 6, and I gotta say, this arc, I was like, okay, cool. I'm actually excited that they're releasing in arcs for season 2, because this one is such a cohesive, like almost like a Star Wars short story, you know. And I gotta say, my first note on this was, and now we're cooking. You know, I think this arc is really, really good. Even from like people who don't like this show, I think would like this arc. But let's go over to you, Matt. What's your opening thoughts on this arc?
I believe in positivity on this podcast. I am not a big fan of this arc. Looking back, I had forgotten a lot of it, because looking back, this was the arc that I was like, oh, cool. I'm happy this exists for the people that like it. This is not for me.
You don't like a heist?
And I love me a heist. I don't like this version of a heist in Star Wars. That's what I will say, and I'll keep it to it's back to the same thing I've said before, and I don't want to beat it to death, because people that love this show, and there are a lot of them, are going to quit the podcast if I keep complaining. But it's a tonal thing. There are things that happen in this arc that are tonally not aligned with most of the rest of this franchise. But I'm going to save my negatives for later.
All right.
What be your likes for episodes? Oh, well, first I want to say, these are episodes 4 through 6 of season 1, all directed by Susanna White and written by Dan and Tony Gilroy. So Tony brought his brother along for this one. But the episodes are Aldhani, The Axe Forgets, and The Eye. And Zach, what be your likes for the episodes 4 through 6 of season 1?
So I really like Aldhani as a planet. It is a distinct biome, which, you know, for me is, you know, Star Wars planets have to be one biome because that's what we've seen. It's a biome that I don't think we've really seen before, which is kind of nice. It's almost like Octo before it flooded. Gives me those kind of vibes. I like the fact that there is, you know, we see the Empire taking these native, you know, people and really, you know, subjugating them, even in a place that is like their holy site, and just the whole conflict there is really feels very Star Wars to me. And I gotta say, I really love when he's translating and the guy's like, tell him that he's, you know, like that I hate him, and he's like, he wishes you a good eye. Such a classic, like, you know, interpreter thing. But I love it. I love the things that we get from Mon Mothma in these episodes. There's such an interesting relationship between her and her husband, and reading The Mask of Fear really helps give me some context to this, which is really nice. If you don't know, Mon Mothma and her husband were betrothed at like 14 or like something like that. And in the book, she talks about she tells it one person, she's like, "Don't get married young. You'll love the company, but you'll hate." But you'll hate the loneliness, you know, and like she talks about how their like relationship evolves as they grow older, and I think that's very interesting. And seeing her and her husband, she almost I don't think it's in these 3 episodes, but she throws him under the bus eventually to help the rebellion. And you see just like it's such an interesting relationship with her and her kid, and her kid's like, "You're not there," but the dad's like, "Well, you got to get mom's approval." So I love all that. I love that we get more blue milk. I love all the blue drinks. I love Clem. I love Andor finally coming clean when he's like, "Hey, I'm here for the money. I'm here for it. If you're gonna if that bothers you, then you know, don't go through it. But it's not my fault." I love the younger rebel who's writing his manifesto, and I love I love Skeen as a character. That actor is just doing great work lately. If you don't know him, he's from The Bear. He's Cousin, but he's also about to be Ben Grimm in Fantastic Four. And I had watched The Bear before I'd watched Andor, so the first time I watched it, I was just like, man, this is that guy. Cool. Cousin doing cousin things. But rewatching it, you really can see, you're like, oh, he has like some really good motivation. And then his twist at the end, ooh, just like, it comes kind of out of nowhere a little bit, but it's so like cold that you're like, okay, cool, great. I didn't have to like this character, and now I really don't have to like this character. And my last Dr. Alien, at the end of that episode, the 4 arms, really great. And I love a heist, so I really liked the whole. I love when there's like 3 different plans going on and they all go wrong, and then you have to, the twists and turns, and someone's gonna die, and it's not who you think it's gonna be, and then it is, and yeah. So overall, I really like this arc. Matt, what 2 likes do you have?
I have a lot of likes, to be fair, because I'm going through this show with a fine-tooth comb, because I'm going to enjoy these things when I watch them one way or another. I love Luthen's Navicomputer droid.
Yeah.
We've never seen anything like that before, and I think that's cool. I really do like Luthen's quote to Andor, "Wouldn't you rather give it all at once for something real than carve off useless pieces till there's nothing left?" That's good stuff.
Yeah.
And then, similarly, the look of Aldhani, these aerial walking on mountain shots look like Braveheart. And that quote is very, very, it's the same speech that William Wallace gives,
yeah.
"And dying in your beds many years from now, wouldn't you give it all to come back and tell your enemies, you may take our lives, but you'll never take our freedom?" So there's a Braveheart reference for you. I also like another line that stood out to me was Cassian telling him when they're all nervous the night before the raid. He's like, there's a difference between being afraid and losing your nerve. Mm-hmm. His whole thing, of course you're afraid. It's the night before. I love the Imperial Security Bureau.
Yeah.
I love that I think that was in Legends, and it was canonized in Star Wars Rebels. It had never been in... I don't think it had ever been outside of role-playing game source books before Star Wars Rebels.
Are you sure?
The ISB was not in the original trilogy.
Even with Wolf Yularen?
He's in white. Right, but it's just him sitting in a room with a bunch of other old white guys. You know what I mean? Like I said, it may have been reference books or source books that it's he was actually the head of the Imperial Security Bureau, but for non-you and me types, nobody would have ever known what that was. I love the head of the ISB. That is the perfect actor for that. This cheeky British guy that'll British you to death with intelligence and big words. He's fantastic.
I gotta say, I also love his... I didn't put this in, but I love his... What do we do here at ISB? Yeah. We are healthcare. We cut out what is disease. Great villain monologue.
Yeah, it's awesome. This is silly but I love the random, completely unnecessary steam that accompanies landing ramps in Star Wars. There's no reason for it. None whatsoever. But it's, it's there. I'm a sucker for a good TIE fighter scream. It's always great.
Also, when he buzzes the farm just for fun, so fun.
And it's a sidebar. When these episodes came out, I saw something that was and this went everywhere, but this is going back several years now, right? But Andor was the first show to make a TIE fighter scream scary, and it's they did the same thing in Force Awakens. They do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Where Finn and Rey get in the tent and they're hiding, and then Finn listens and you hear the scream. Anyway, whatever. But Mon Mothma, she is alike. Yeah. Let's go. The way that I would beg for a Mon Mothma live-action show set during the Galactic Civil War, not before, during.
Yeah.
I want to see the Galactic Civil War from her perspective. Yeah. That would be awesome. A lot of Easter eggs in Luthen's shop. I forgot to write them all down, but there's Starkiller's armor from the Sith ending of The Force Unleashed, and there's so many others that I forgot to write. But there's a lot. There are people on this show that have fun with the nerdy, nitty-gritty stuff. I love Mon Mothma talking about the Empire cracking down in little ways on the Senate, where she's like, everybody is a spy, and they're doing everything they can to kind of crack down on all of it and make their power very, very small, which makes sense. This is right before Palpatine completely dissolves the Senate. Yeah. I say right before, this is 5 years before, but still, right? It's coming. I like that Cyril is still obsessed with Andor, staring at that Andor holo. I do love the scene very much of the Imperial commanders smugly spouting racist crap about the Donnies, but then also commenting about what a spectacle the Eye is. I love that. And then the Eye itself, really, really cool.
The Eye is really
so cool.
It's so Star Warsy too, to be like, yeah, this one thing happens on this planet, and it happens every time, like every couple of years. Like,
yeah, I love it. Yeah. But alrighty. So we've got our positives. Zach, let's move into our respectful dislikes. I imagine you have like 1.5.
Okay, dislikes. For me, I feel like this could have been less episodes. I feel like the arc could have been a little bit shorter and faster, more intense, less seeing how we're doing drills to get into the thing and just be like, okay, cool, they've done drills. I mean, yeah, it's cool to see, Cassian be like, no, you would switch spots, but like that whole the whole prepping for the heist, I think, is a little bit too long. I think you could have done one episode prep for the heist. He comes in, there's tension. Second episode, the heist. I think the Eye is a great episode. I think it moves really great. You get the conflict between the lieutenant and the admiral and all that. What other dislikes? I do kind of dislike. I like Scheme, but his turn at the end, like I said, it kind of comes out of nowhere, and I kind of wish. Yes, I like it. It's fun, and I think the actor does a great job doing the turn. I kind of wish though that he was just full rebel. I kind of wish he didn't turn at the end there, and he was just like, yeah, man, like, no, this is what the rebellion could be. Like, I don't know why every character has to be kind of crappy, whereas it's like, you could just be like, hey, cool, yeah, no, I actually fully believe in this, and the kid that I wanted to save because he fully believed in this, now that he's dead, I'm like, oh, well, I don't believe this anymore. But, yeah.
Well, I mean, my answer to that, and this is mostly a joke, but it's a quote from these episodes. Must everything be boring and sad? Apparently, yes. Like, apparently. So I don't like that they say ass. It's like that like, damn, I can handle. I thank God Lucasfilm didn't let them drop an F-bomb in the last episode. Like, I get it. This is not a Star Wars show. But come on, guys. Like, you know what I'm saying? Someone get Cassian a razor. This is a joke, right? Why are you shaving with a knife, dog? Get you a razor. Also, Clem is the stupidest name you could have come up with. Clem? It sounds like a medical condition. I got a bad case of the Clem. This nitpicky, but man, I don't care about the Deidre versus Blevin office politics story. Mm-hmm. Like, that was part of what I'm talking about when watching this for the first time 3 years ago, going, oh, cool, this is just not for me, and that's fine. But I was like, are we really going to take this much time on an office politics story?
I do really like Deidre, though.
Deidre's great. The character's cool, but can we see her doing a Star Wars thing and not I'm going to circumvent his authority because he circumvented mine, and we're going to have an arc about standing in office rooms and being slightly catty to each other. Sidebar, why is everybody on this show British except Cassian? You know what I mean? I'm not saying that, like, everybody needs to be American, but...
Well, Cousin's American. Scheme's American.
One.
Yeah.
Literally one. There are no aliens on this show, and they're all Brits. It's very strange. But most of these are nitpicks because I'm trying to have fun. But why is Terramin holding a real-world gun? No alteration, no aesthetic, just a real-world gun. Like, what? This is a fantasy show, guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, we reached Cyril and his overbearing mom eating cereal. I'm on the edge of my seat for
That is
all
just
of
like
these
for me too.
scenes.
I think,
Like, my gosh. Anyway, again, the Donnies are all human.
yeah.
Not even an alien anywhere in sight. Why are there only humans everywhere? And this is the biggest one. The biggest two. I am really, really, really not cool with I don't remember her name. Sintra,
Yeah.
I think. I am really not cool with her killing the wife and son of the Imperial commander. It's just, no, guys. This is fiction. It can be fiction.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? This is Star Wars. Yes, because the plan goes sour, and then when you see her walking out with the eye above her, she's like lightly crying because of what she had to do.
Oh,
and it's just, yeah, she murdered his wife and son, and we don't even dwell on it at all or act like it was a bad thing. And I know that you're like, well, Matt, why are you so mad? Anakin kills a room of kids, and they treat it in Star Wars Episode 3 like it is an unforgivable sin, and he literally burns alive for it.
Yeah.
So it's just, and I know that I'm being a whiner, but like, and kind of similarly, Nemec's death. Like, this is the type of death that you would do on Game of Thrones, or you would do on what this is, a real-world, gritty, morality is very gray, same reason Skeen turns. His story was cool of his motivation, but it's also so unforgivably bleak and dark that it's just like, do you get it? This isn't Star Wars. Do you get it? And I'm just kind of like, yeah, I get it, but like, do we really need to watch the only member of this group that's actually a believer get his spine shattered randomly?
Yeah, it's
not
like he
even
didn't
really
do anything wrong either. You know, he was holding on, like.
And it's a moment of victory. Cassian guns the engines, and they're all just standing behind that crate.
Yeah.
And then he gets crushed, and it's like, what?
You could have very
get
easily
it?
had the guy that they, struggle with, and he shoots Andor. Like, have that Imperial come back up, shoot him,
But that's the thing, is that this is a prestige drama.
Yeah.
And on prestige dramas, it's more like real life, where real life is random, and it is chaotic, and things just happen, and you have to assign meaning to them. But I'm jumping to my closing thoughts. It was one of the things that George told Filoni, that the most important thing is to make these stories hopeful, because kids need that.
Yeah.
And I get this isn't for kids, but when I watch a Skeleton Crew episode and my suggested watch from Disney Plus is Andor, to be perfectly honest, I take issue with that. It's like, what are we doing, guys? I would not show this to a kid.
No, definitely not.
So, and that's what I'm saying, is that, like, and there are a lot, then for people to say this is the greatest Star Wars ever, it's like, it's Star Wars if Star Wars was like everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I know that's childish, and I know I wear Star Wars t-shirts, and I'm a freshly 36-year-old man that has a Star Wars podcast, but it is, in fact, okay to have a franchise that is morally complex and is emotionally meaningful while also being escapist. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
So, there's my rant. I do have some discussion questions, though. But
yeah.
Zach, do you have any discussion questions or points for these episodes?
I do. I noticed that we get a I don't know if you caught it. We get kind of a one way out. We know it's coming. The one way out, one way out.
Yeah.
Vel says, one path, one choice. And I instantly went, one way out? Yeah. Why do you think... hold on. Let me just go through my notes very quickly. Sorry. Yeah. Why do we already kind of discussed it, but why do we think the cereal, the cereal, like that whole sequence could have just been cut? You could have just cut to him having the job and that we know is coming. Like, yeah.
Because that's what this show is. This show is the parts of Star Wars that George Lucas would cut out. Right.
It's not faster,
This
more
is
intense. It's slower, more intense.
it's we're gonna take your face and shove it into this cereal bowl with the just level of mundane that we're gonna watch. Because it's their answer is it's a prestige drama.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, don't you get it? They're real people. Yeah. Anyway,
all right.
Sorry.
Discussion questions for you?
Oh, so many. This is more of a canon morsel. Blue Kyber, Skystone.
Yeah.
That's new. But the Rakatan invaders are not. In Legends, Rakatan technology was powered by focusing crystals, which was then reverse engineered by the formerly enslaved species of the Infinite Empire. So there's your Rakatan canon morsel for the day. But more of a but kind of a discussion as well. Corporate securities, when they're talking about everything that happened on Ferrix.
Yeah.
The ISB people are like, corporate security is still in charge out there. Mm-hmm. Star Wars was really never intended to be a tightly regimented, explained galactic geography. Mm-hmm. It's storytelling. Where's Ferrix? Out there, beyond our reach, on the Outer Rim. Yeah. Where's that? It's on the Outer Rim. But where? Shut up. It's out there somewhere. You know what I mean? I like that. It works best when it's like that.
Yeah.
Where's Coruscant? It's near the core. Where's the core? It's near the core. Shut up. Like, quit making maps. The point is that it's the core. It's a story. It's not specific, you know?
It's not Star Trek.
Yeah, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And then Star Trek's great too, but this is different. Do you think Cassian would have left if the Navicomputer droid didn't speak up? Because Luthen goes outside to talk to Tally, and Cassian has a moment. He looks at the controls, and then the droid looks at him and says something, and he's like, do you think he would have bounced? Do you think he would have stolen the ship? Yeah.
I mean, he's like, this ship is awesome, and it looks like a freighter, but it can do light speed. He's like, but this ship is not supposed to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is kind of more of I like talking about what these shows are as opposed to what they're not, but I do kind of wish we hadn't seen Luthen put his wig on, change clothes, and practice smiling. I kind of wish we had just picked up with Mon Mothma coming into this shop on Coruscant, and it's Luthen, and we're like, what, is that a twin brother? Is that him? What's the deal? And then they go in the back, and he puts on his normal Luthen voice, and you're like, oh, I get it. This is how he hides. I wish we had done that.
I don't.
I think... Okay.
I love the character moment. Because, one, we get to see how cool this ship is. It has another secret compartment. But for me, it's he puts on the wig, he does the smile, and then he goes, like, for me, what sells it is I have to frickin' do this. You know, it's I'm so tired of being the fake happy person. And that's why I like it. I like that little moment of him going, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love it, too. He acts it so well, because it reminds me of Christopher Reeve transforming from Clark Kent to Superman, where it looks like he grows like 2 feet because he stands up straight. Watch Superman the movie if you haven't seen it. But I just wish we had seen that moment after we see him from Mon Mothma's perspective, because again, that would be more of a not put you ahead of the characters, put you in the moment, and we're trying to figure out what's going on. Is that Luthen? What's the deal? Oh, that is him. Oh, and then it's all clicking, and then you could see another scene of him doing that, and anyway.
Yeah.
But I think it's weird. The Aldhani team is laughably unprepared without Andor.
Yeah.
Like, hold your guns on the outside. You don't even know if you can fly this thing out of there. You don't know how it works. So my question is, did Luthen not care at all if they were successful?
Well, he says, I was going to stop. He goes, you either take him or I pull it. I was going to pull it. I was going to stop the mission anyway.
That's
at
true.
the beginning of the first episode. So I think he realized without Cassian and, the piloting and all that I think he kind of knew, because he said, "Yeah, I'm gonna pull it. You either take him or we're done with this mission, and you're here for 3 months for nothing." Like,
yeah, okay, yeah, I like it. And then it's so, and this is kind of a discussion. Well, it's hard to imagine stealing a quarterly payroll for an Imperial sector being a mission that happens at roughly the same time as Ezra Bridger's speech from Rebels Season 1. Right? Where on Rebels, that's what starts the fire across the galaxy, as the episode is called, because then you meet people throughout the rest of the series. They're like, yeah, I heard your speech. Yeah, I heard your speech. And Andor is kind of like, because Luthen's talking to his assistant, and I'm forgetting her name, and they're talking about this mission on Aldhani that's about to happen. And she's like, by tomorrow, it'll all be over. And he's like, or it'll just be beginning. And I like that you do have a universe that is vast enough where two things can start the rebellion, right? They steal however many 80 million credits, and Ezra gives a speech. But it's just weird to imagine both of those events happening within the same story.
You gotta remember that the rebellion is not hey, we were one organization from the beginning. Yeah. It's, different groups all coming together. Also, if I'm not mistaken, Loth, not Lothcat. What is the planet that Ezra's from?
Lothal.
Lothal is not in the core, right?
Yeah, it's true.
So you could have,
I guess
this is the, inspiration for this portion of the Outer Rim. This is the inspiration for the Empire to go, people are coming after us in the core, Yeah. Because this is all very Coruscant-based or adjacent, it feels like.
Yeah, they say at one point that Aldhani is far enough from everything, but also close enough that it's really only good for being like a supply depot of a planet.
Yeah.
So, but alrighty. So we've talked about it enough. I kind of already said my closing thoughts like I talked about. But, Zach, what are your closing thoughts for Andor Season 1, Episodes 4 through 6?
Yeah, I love a heist. I like where, I like a lot of this. I like that, it feels like it's cooking, whereas the first three kind of feel way exposition-y. This one feels, okay, cool, we're actually moving towards a goal. I know what's coming next, which is one of my favorite episodes. Although Episode 5, not my favorite, for our longtime listeners. Episode 5 of a series tends to usually be my favorite. Not so this time. But these are a little bit longer of a season. And it feels a little bit longer of a season. I will say, I think this entire show could have dealt with a little bit of trimming. Faster, more intense. Not slower, more intense.
Slower, less intense.
Yeah. Well, it's like tension, not intense.
Yeah.
Closing thoughts?
Right on. I kind of already gave them, and I apologize if I am being too negative. Please don't give up on the show because I'm a whiner. I am open to discussing Andor further with everybody. If you have thoughts about Andor or you want to, respectfully challenge me on anything that I've said, please do that in the comments below. Please, 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 I am open to that. Don't just dislike and move on. Let's start a conversation. I'll talk to anybody until it results to, insults and stuff. I will talk to anybody about any of this. And that's not a challenge either. I like talking about this stuff. It's not real. It's meant for you to get what you get out of it and then talk about it with friends. But speaking of talking about these things with friends, it's time to interview my lovely, lovely wife, one of my favorite people on the planet. It is funny. I found out very early in this interview that she likes Star Wars even less than I thought she did. But, here on The Force of Others, it's about others. It's not the force of fans. So
did
we
you
have
bring up the fact that Aunt Petunia from Harry Potter is in Andor?
I did not. She's in Andor?
She's the mom. She's Cassian's mom.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because Jenny was coming in and out of the room while I was watching, I think, all 3 of these Andor episodes. And she, at one point, she looked at the camera, looked at the TV, looked at me, and looked back, and she went, "You hate this, right?" And I said, "Hate is strong. It's not what I like about Star Wars." She goes, "Well, I don't even really like Star Wars, but this is boring," and left. And she loves her some prestige dramas. She loves Chernobyl, which is the other big show that Henry Gilroy and his team made, and it's also starring Stellan Skarsgård. But anyway, without further ado, we're going to throw it over to my interview with Jenny with a special cameo from our dog, Sirius Black. Okay, we are here with the queen of my heart. She is my Princess Leia and my Chewbacca, all wrapped up in one, in that she is my wife and my co-pilot.
Oh,
See, you thought it was
I thought
gonna
you were
be
calling
gross.
me Harry.
No, I'm the hairy one. But if it's not clear, we are here. Let's give a warm welcome from all corners of this galaxy to my wife, Jennie Jermaine.
Hi.
Thanks for doing this, Jenny.
Of course.
How would you rank your Star Wars fandom on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being you absolutely hate it, 10 being it's your favorite thing.
I don't hate it.
I know, there's no
Okay.
pressure.
I don't hate it, but I don't love it. It's probably like a 4.
Wow. It's lower than we thought, but we're going to move on into the interview template.
Should we introduce this guy? Because he's going to be a little menace.
For those of you that can see us, if you can see this little shadow of an animal, Sirius Black, the Grim, exists. He is in the flesh, and he's being a Grim right now because he's biting Jenny. Hopefully you can hear him.
Doing his little
Keep going. Now he'll stop.
Of course.
Now that he's on mic. Okay, don't lick the microphone. All right. Anyway, let's move into the interview template.
Okay.
These are the interview questions we ask anybody until we come up with something different. Jenny,
Yes.
where were you when you first saw Star Wars, or what is your first Star Wars memory?
Okay. I remember Star Wars being popular with the elementary kids when I was like 8.
Yeah.
But I remember not being interested.
Cool.
But I also didn't really have much of a fandom until my fandom came along. So it wasn't like I was avoiding anything. It was just I was very musical theater and very into performing and didn't really do much of anything else. So.
And your fandom is?
Harry Potter!
We'll talk about that later.
Yes. But then the first time I saw Star Wars was with this guy, who is now my husband, when we were just dating. And so 2016 was the first time I saw Star Wars.
Was it 2016? Did I get after it early?
Yeah, you were still in the Ector Street house.
Oh, so fans of the podcast will know that was when I was, my roommate was some guy named Lance Candler.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Jenny, now that we know that your Star Wars fandom is on a 4 out of 10,
Sorry.
Do you have a favorite Star Wars hero? Who is it?
I mean, Rey probably. I do.
Okay.
I do enjoy Rey. I
Okay. Why?
because she was probably she was the first one that I was like truly aware of female wise that was actually doing any fighting.
Okay.
So she was like, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Because Leia didn't really do much.
Yeah, she kind of shot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I didn't know anything. That was the first time I was aware of the commercials and aware of what was going on in the Star Wars world.
Commercials.
Because it was on TV because of the movie was coming out. Yes,
Yeah.
in 2015. So,
Yeah.
right?
Okay. Yeah.
Look at me. I remembered something.
Okay, so Rey.
Rey.
All right, so who is your favorite Star Wars villain? Do you have one?
Yes. I guess. I'm going to say, and it's not for any reason other than this, I'm going to say Palpatine because he reminds me of Colin Mockery.
But you like Colin Mockery.
I love Colin Mockery, but when I see younger Colin Mockery, who, if you don't know who Colin Mockery is, he was one of the main people on Whose Line Is It Anyway for years and years and years, but every time I see Palpatine, I'm like, that's evil Colin Mockery. So yeah, there you go. No other reason. I don't really have a favorite.
Does he remind you as Colin Mockery when he's all like
No.
prudified?
Only when he's
So it's
a normal
prequel
human.
Palpatine.
Sure. Let's say yes. When he looks like Colin Mockery, that's when he reminds me of Colin Mockery.
We'll put pictures below
Yes.
us, and we'll let you guys be the judge. If old Sheevy Babies, when he's young, looks like Colin Mockery.
Sheevy
Okay.
Babies?
Yeah, his first name's Sheev.
Oh, Sheev. I heard Sheeby.
Yeah, I said Sheevy. Sheevy Babies.
Sheevy. Okay.
All right, anyway.
That guy.
So, your favorite hero is Rey by default. Favorite villain is Palpatine because he
Yes.
looks like your favorite improv comedian.
Yes.
Who is your favorite random alien or background character / who's your favorite glup shitto, as the internet calls them?
This guy.
Oh my gosh, I'm spacing on the name, but he's a member of the Jedi Council in Star Wars Episode 1. I can't remember his name right now.
When we first watched the movies and it was in the prequels, I was very like, who is that guy? in the background, and Matt kept saying, "What are you talking about? Who?" And it was this random guy who's just kind of really long neck. He kind of almost looks like an ostrich kind of alien, but he does this in the background of the scene. I don't even know if he has any lines. But
does not.
Makes me very happy. So I would say that's my favorite one-off. Not a cute character, because I do have a lot of those, because I love animals.
And by the way, if you're listening and you couldn't see what we were doing...
Oh, yeah, I was swaying back and forth, and my head was kind of...
With mostly just our head moving, and I gotta get this guy's name, because my Star Wars fandom is on, okay.
Oh,
okay.
That guy, yes.
Yarael Poof. This is his name. We gotta love the Glup Shittos in Star Wars. Okay, Jenny.
Yes. Okay.
If you had a lightsaber, what color would it be?
I'm going to go Samuel L. Jackson, and I'm going to say purple.
You go purple.
Because I love purple.
Right on. Why? Just because it's your favorite?
It's my favorite color.
Okay, right on.
I love purple.
Cool.
And look at me knowing things about the fandom that I'm not a fan of.
Give props. And it's not because I'm force-feeding her Star Wars lore. And you've seen each of the prequels literally only one time apiece.
One time.
Right on.
Yep.
Okay, so...
Trying not to look at your phone, because I'm not supposed to know what the questions are.
Oh,
so
well, I mean,
accidentally looking down at
whatever.
it.
If you could have a Star Wars tattoo, what would it be?
Isn't always a word for you guys in your fandom?
Well, I mean, we say it at the end of the podcast, because it's a line at the end of the first Star Wars movie. That's what it's from. Remember, the Force will be with you. Always.
Well, always is also a thing in Harry Potter, so I would do it a duel.
It has a lot more meaning in Harry Potter than it does in Star Wars.
Sure, but that would be my workaround, so that it wouldn't really be about Star Wars. It'd be more about Harry Potter.
So your answer is
no. My answer is no. I wouldn't have.
That's fair.
Would you? Okay,
but if you so I'll alter the question
Yes.
to force you to answer. If you had to have a Star Wars tattoo, what would it be? If you had to have a Star Wars tattoo.
A porg.
That'll tie into something we do later.
Yeah.
So it would be a porg.
Can I go back and get you to answer that question for yourself?
About Harry Potter?
No. What tattoo would you get of Star Wars?
I've said on the show before, I would get, it's a quote from episode 1, if I got, I don't have any tattoos.
He doesn't have any tattoos. I'm the one with tattoos.
It would be a yin-yang of the evil version of this quote, and then the kind of the good, proactive version of this quote. It would be fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering, and then the positive side is compassion leads to love, love leads to something else leads to healing. So it's all about how fear is the root of all evil. Or not compassion. Courage leads to compassion, compassion leads to love, love leads to healing. So my answer was way longer, but... Okay, there's our answers.
Mine was one word.
Okay, so Jenny,
yes.
I don't know if you have an answer to this story.
Okay.
Or to this question. What is your favorite Star Wars story?
I don't know if this counts as a story, but I do like Ahsoka's arc. I think she's interesting. I like her arc just because, yet again, strong female.
Cool.
Great. But I did enjoy Solo. I remember walking out of that movie going, and I told you this after we walked out of the movie, saying, I understand why people like Star Wars. Because it was exciting and it was fun. It was just fun. It was a fun movie.
See, yeah, because I remember two different versions of this. I remember that you told me it was during the Kessel Run sequence, which is when they're flying through, trying to escape the black hole, and there's the giant monster coming out of the black hole and trying to eat the ship.
I remember this.
I remember that you told me, you said, at the time, and this was 8 years ago, whatever, this is a while ago.
A long time ago.
You said, you're like, oh, I get this now.
Yeah.
I get why people like this. And I walked out of the theater going, oh, wow, she gets it now. She likes Star Wars. And years later you told me, you're like, no, I get why other people like this now, but it's not for me.
That sounds like something I could say. Unfortunately.
Anyway, so here on The Force of Others, but so you would say Ahsoka's arc
I would say
is your favorite.
Sure.
Cool.
Either that or Solo. I said Solo.
Solo, a Star Wars story. I like it. Okay, so
Okay.
we've gotten this answer.
Okay.
What does Star Wars mean to you?
Star Wars means that my husband loves it. I don't know what these questions are going to be, and that is my honest answer. No, it's very similar to Harry Potter in that it's a story where good triumphs evil.
Yeah?
Yeah, there you go. And that my husband loves it.
Right on. We'll take it. Okay. So, we have flown to this interview. Let me make sure I didn't skip anything. No, I did. I didn't. Okay, so,
You did?
Jenny,
You didn't. Okay.
we've gotten through the fun part. It's
was the
now
fun part?
time for the...
Sorry, I didn't mean it like that. No. I didn't mean it like that. That sounded so bad. I'm
It's
so
now
sorry.
time for the game part.
That is fun. That's fun too.
Well, usually what I say is now it's time for pain.
Oh.
But, I mean, you know,
not gonna
so
be
it's time
painful.
for the ridiculous Rastar trivia question, which is supposed to be so hard it's preposterous.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because you are, by association, someone who's aware of Star Wars things,
Yes.
I have cheated the system and scaled this a little bit.
Oh,
because normally the vibe is that either way you win. Because it's either you, yay, you got this stupid, insanely difficult question, or you didn't, and yay, you have a life. But, so whatever. So we're going to give you hope.
And I will. What I will say is that I knew that this part was happening. That there was going to be a trivia section, and we had decided a while ago that I'm going to yes and this, which is an improv term, and whatever happens, happens. I'm not going to know the answers to these questions. I'm not.
You know part of the answer to this question after what we looked at today. You've already given 2 answers to this question.
Oh no.
Jenny.
Okay.
From Star Wars Episode 1, name 4 members of the Jedi Council.
Poof.
Yariel Poof.
Yoda.
Yes.
Samuel L. Jackson.
What's his name? Okay. That's 2.5. Can you get any more?
2.5. Thank you. Long hair. Ponytail.
You got a name?
He's the guy.
If you're trying to say Liam Neeson.
Yes, I'm trying to say Liam Neeson.
Well, he is
He's
in the
not
film.
it.
He's not on the Jedi Council, unfortunately.
Okay.
There's no pressure, Jenny.
End of list.
So Mace Windu.
Mace Windu. Yeah, I was not going to get Mace Windu.
Well, see, because
I
originally...
was going to say Admiral Akbar. Because that's a Star Wars name that I can name.
You did. That was I should have just said name 10 Star Wars
That's okay.
characters.
Oh my gosh, I can't name 10?
You can name 10.
I don't know.
All right,
I
anyway.
don't trust myself.
So that's all right. With
Okay.
the ridiculous Raptor has come and gone. Now it's time for a different game.
Oh, that's
one
it?
that I know you will like more. Oh, yeah, it's
Okay.
just one question.
Okay.
So it's a new game we're doing on the show. It's called Blind Ranking.
Okay.
You're going to blind rank 5 things.
Okay.
1 being your favorite, 5 being your least favorite. Now,
Okay.
something you don't know about my wife, if you don't know her, she is an animal person.
I am.
She loves the dog's looking at me. I don't know why you knew animal was about you. Anyway, she's an animal person. She loves the creatures. She's already mentioned her love for porgs. So, Jenny,
Yes.
you are going to blind rank 5 Star Wars creatures in terms of how much you like them. You have 5.
I have 5. I have a question. Once I name one, can I change that number around?
Nope, that's
okay.
the game. That's the game.
That's going to be a problem.
Okay, number 1, Ewok.
Oh.
The Ewoks.
1 is the best, 5 is...
1 is the best, 5 is the worst.
I'm going to put Ewok at 4.
Okay, Ewoks are at 4. Got it.
Okay.
This next one, you won't know what it is when I name it. You might know what it is when you see it.
Okay.
So, the Vulptex.
Oh,
These are the crystal critters from Star Wars The Last Jedi. And sorry, you put Ewoks at 4.
I'm going to put this at a 3.
Okay, so we got Ewoks at 4. You're putting these above the Ewoks.
Yeah. Well, because it's dog-like, Matt.
Okay. So we got Ewoks at 4. We got Vulptexes at 3.
Yes.
So, the next thing to rank.
Oh, boy. Is it porg?
Grogu.
Grogu's cute. But I know porgs are going to be on here. So I think I'm going to put this guy at a 5.
You're putting Grogu at 5?
I might regret that later.
Wow. Okay, so we got Vulptex is at 3, Ewoks at 4, Grogu at 5.
Okay.
So the second to last thing to rank, the Lothcat.
Oh, yeah, that's a 2.
Yeah,
That's a 2.
and that's him as an animal, or as not as an animal, as a cartoon.
It is cute.
Which you'll be way more. And then okay, your number 5 was Ewok, your number 4 was I'm sorry,
5
4 was Ewok. 5 was Grogu, 4 was Ewok, 3 was Vulptex, 2 was Lothcat, and confirmed number 1, it worked out.
It was a porg.
It was a porg.
I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, I'm kind of
with that.
surprised that you put Grogu at 5, man. That's wild.
He's cute, but I don't know.
He's
He's
not...
an adult. He's 50.
Hey, there's some Star Wars lore. See? And I don't want people to think that I'm just force-feeding my interests down these people's brains. But,
stuff it down the brain.
there we go. Now, and to break from tradition, she's going to ask me some Harry Potter questions now.
Yes.
My goal is to crush the trivia questions.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing that Matt did for me and ask him some fun stuff. Okay, so what was your first Harry Potter memory?
In 5th grade, it may very well have been Lance Candler's book, but somebody had a Harry Potter book, and I just happened to look at it and went, that's kind of weird. And so that doesn't really count. My first actual memory was being, I think, in early high school. And the first thing I ever saw of the Harry Potter franchise was the 3rd movie.
Oh.
And specifically, I came into the room not really being a Harry Potter guy, because this might shock you, I was too cool to be a nerd for a little while of my life. I liked Star Wars, but I didn't really like anything else, because I was a jerk. And I come walking into the room as Harry is yelling at this annoying, campy lady, and then she inflates like a balloon and floats out of the house. And that was the first thing I ever saw. And I was like, what is that? By the way, if you're hearing that, that's what it sounds like when our dog flaps his ears.
Yeah,
he is in Jenny's face because he wants something. And I, fun fact, in the first time watch through, I did not like that movie.
And
it's Jenny's favorite.
And number 3 is my favorite.
And it has grown on me a bit, but that was about the weirdest first impression I could have gotten of Harry Potter, I feel like.
It is a very weird first impression. Okay, so first thoughts on Harry Potter. You just said what your first thoughts are. Yeah. But what are your thoughts about it now? Versus, differences.
I think that it is a very... I remember when... Because I haven't read the books, so I am very much a Harry Potter poser. I don't claim authentic fandom. Dog, you're not going to be able to lick Jenny right now. It's going to be too loud. So sorry, buddy. Just sit down and get comfy.
Come here.
Okay. All right. More blooper reel. Stop. Hush. Okay. So, it is. I remember I have not read the books. I am a Harry Potter kind of poser in that regard. I don't claim actual fandom. But I've seen all the movies, and I remember when I watched the last Harry Potter proper movie, that I went, oh, okay, cool. This is a really meaningful, important story for kids to learn and to see, self-sacrifice, all that stuff. The world is not my favorite, and that's probably the biggest thing.
Fair enough.
But I like it more than Lord of the Rings.
I am, well, that's not much of a contest, Lord of the Rings.
Zach, I'm not trying to come for you that hard, but okay, anyway. All right,
I just didn't grow up with that. Okay, so if you could cast any spell all the time, like the one spell all the time, what would it be? And you don't have to know the name of the spell if you want to just describe it. That's fine. Whatever. I
think. Oh gosh. So we had this question about Jedi powers, and I think I said just the force pull, like just move things to my hand.
Okay. So that would be Accio.
Yes.
That would be Accio.
Yes.
Accio keys. Accio. That's
a good choice. I mean, of course, there's no Jedi mind trick. There's no, convince them of something else.
Yes, there is, and it's a forbidden spell.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, so don't do that, because then you'll be evil.
So, Accio.
Okay, so, what is your Pottermore Patronus, which I already know what it is.
Ragdoll cat.
And I know you hate cats, so what would you rather your Patronus be?
I'm cool with that, because when I first saw it, I was like, what? And then I looked it up, and a ragdoll cat is a cat that acts like and otherwise seems to kind of behave like a dog, and that sounds like me.
Okay, well, then there you go. Okay, and so this question you can cut out if you want to. You can totally cut this out, because I realize who your fan base is, but in your opinion, why is Harry Potter better than Star Wars?
So I have to come up with a reason why it could be, or why someone could make the argument that it could be?
Is.
Well, I disagree with this. So the answer is that it's not.
It was a joke question.
I know. The real answer would be that I don't think Harry Potter happens if Star Wars doesn't happen first.
Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So that was the end of that portion.
I will say that it is way more accessible for younger kids seeing it for the first time. Because as much as I love the original trilogy, it is almost 50 years old. And I have watched kids check out. And they're like, it looks old. And I'm like, shut up, you're stupid.
Well, I mean, I kind of did that too, so.
I didn't say that at the time. I did not, and I don't say that now.
But I definitely feel that. Okay, so now I have my trivia stuff. I have 5 trivia questions. Are you...
5?
5 trivia questions. Are you...
Okay.
And they are all from the movies, not from the books,
Okay.
because
All right.
I'm aware that you are a poser and not a real fan, which
All
is
right.
totally fine.
It's time to
Okay.
put my money where my mouth is. Here we go.
Okay. What page number does Snape say?
394.
Nice. Okay. What Muggle job do Hermione's parents have?
I have no clue. I know they get obliviated in Harry
Right.
Potter and the camping trip. That's
do.
about what I can tell you about them.
No answer?
I got nothing.
You got nothing?
I'm going to say they're bankers.
They're dentists. They're dentists.
That's not the same thing as bankers.
I mean, but they're like in like a normal. They're very normal.
All right,
Yeah,
sure.
they're
sure.
very normal.
Office
Okay.
people.
Yes. Okay. What is the name of the banker that helps Harry break into Gringotts in 7 Part 1?
So he's played by Warwick Davis.
Yes, he is.
Otherwise known as a Wicket E. Warwick from Return of the Jedi and the Ewok movies.
Great.
And
I'm gonna give you
and a bunch of other Star Wars roles, and I'm going to say so many other things when I tell you I have no freaking clue what his name is.
I'm gonna give you like 75%.
I know that he's a
points.
goblin, and I know that
Yeah.
it is Gringotts Bank,
Okay.
and
It
that's
starts
what I
with
got.
the letter G. Does that help?
Gobbledygook. Goobin McFoobin.
No.
Gorbin Fiber.
You're close. Grip hook.
I was actually kind of...
Okay. Who is the director of Prisoner of Azkaban?
Alfonso Cuarón?
Yes, it is. Very nice. And what spell backfires on Lockhart when he is using Ron's broken wand in Chamber of Secrets?
It's not Accio.
Nope.
It's not, Stupefy.
Nope. They don't
It's,
know
is it the one that, like, launches people?
Nope. But he does get launched because of it, so you're not horribly off?
It's not Avada Kedavra.
No. I don't know that one yet.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Nope, that makes people float.
I know that.
Okay. Well, I'll give you a hint. I'll give you a
okay.
hint. You have actually already said this spell.
Today?
Yes. In the last couple
Accio.
minutes. Nope.
In the last couple minutes? Mm-hmm. When else was I... Was it on the question where you asked what would I take?
Nope. It was Hermione's parents.
Oh, he tries to obliviate him?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh,
he tries
dark.
to obliviate them.
Wild.
Ta-da! We did it! Sirius, say yay!
And that is your glimpse at our lives here on The Force of Others. Jenny, thanks for doing this.
Of course.
Be nice to Jenny in the comments. Not everybody has to be a Star Wars fan to come on The Force of Others. They just have to be a cool
Thanks.
person, and Jenny is the coolest.
Well, thank you.
Welcome.
I don't... Sure. Yes.
I think I'll take that I kept some of my nerd cred. What did I got?
Yeah.
I got two out of 5.
2 out of 5. That's
Really.
great.
All right. And
Please be nice to me.
hey, be nice to Jenny in the comments, or you're getting blocked. I'm going to be straight
Oh.
up about this.
Well, don't block people.
So, if they're
Please
being
be
butts,
nice.
I will.
Please be nice. Oh, and what house are you in?
Oh, speaking of being butts, I'm Gryffindor, a.k.a.
The only house that matters.
All right, and we're going to
No,
go back to
I'm Hufflepuff.
Zach and Hufflepuff is
Canada of Hogwarts.
objectively like the nicest, otherwise kindest, most compassionate, and probably best real world house. But Gryffindor are the real ones. So I'm going to go back to me and Zach. Bye. And we're back. So I kind of didn't think about before I sent you to that interview. You have seen 2 impromptu Matt trivia challenges because she also quizzed me on the Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And you saw how well and not well that I did. And Zach, I tried to stop her from trashing Lord of the Rings, but I did not succeed.
Come on.
So eventually, we will have franchise fights
Yeah.
on this show, and we will have, we will objectively prove through the form of structured debate which franchises are better. I want to do a Star Wars versus Harry Potter. I want to do a Star Wars versus Lord of the Rings, and probably a Star Wars versus Dune.
Oh, yeah.
But all that's going to be very fun. We'll do these things eventually when we are through our Andor time, and when you look at the back half of this year, there's not any new stuff coming out.
Yeah.
So we could do whatever we want.
It's just prepping for Ahsoka next year.
Which, not to happy dance too much, but Like, come on, dog. We're about to move back into the Filoni Favreau verse, which is where I like to be. But anyway, Zach, what all do you have going on in your world, and where can the people find you if they want to?
Yeah, if you want to find me, the best way is to email the show, forceofothersradio@gmail.com. Got some stuff coming up in the back half of the year that I'll be able to announce once they come out, which will be pretty fun. But other than that, just, you can find me every week here. We got a RPG coming out that I am very proud of. It has some great story structure and feels very Star Warsy, and Matt did a really great job DMing. So check out that May 4th. It will be coming out soon. Matt, where can they find you?
The first place that I always forget to tell people you can find me is my other podcast. This is not the only time I talk into a mic, and it's not the only time I talk about creative things. Check out the Acting Up with GTC podcast, which is the podcast about the Granbury Theater Company, which is my day job. And so you can check out some of the things I'm working on there. And otherwise, hit me up, email forceofothersradio@gmail.com. As Zach said, send us all your questions. We will get back to questions eventually. Speaking of, apologies to Daniel Logan that we couldn't fit you on the show again today, but maybe we'll talk about Boba Fett versus Mace Windu next week. And I can't remember, I ran out of things to say.
All right.
But we're not going to run out of things to say on this episode, on this show anytime soon. All of you listeners, like, comment, subscribe, keep growing this show. We're at 226 subscribers on YouTube now. We're clicking right along. But the more of you that join the party, the longer the party's going to be able to go. Mm-hmm. And check out the merch store, all those things. But without further ado, remember, the force of others will be with you.
Always. The Force of Others, a Star Wars podcast.